Hey everyone, Ryu here. I'm going to go ahead and talk about a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and that topic is single mothers. Now, I've heard a lot of things, a lot of arguments from all sides, ranging from single mothers are heroic to single mothers are the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. Now, looking at the statistics, I got more side on the latter of those two conclusions. But here's the thing. Why do we have so many single mothers? The thing is when you actually look at it, when you listen to men talking about, them not being able to see their children, a lot of them really do want to be a part of their child's lives, but the mothers are making it impossible. And even if it's not the mother making it impossible, even if the mother's sitting there and genuinely wanting the father to be a part of the child's life, the legal system makes it impossible. Because here's the thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at my personal situation, just as an example. Does it prove anything? No. But the thing is it does prove as an example, and it gets you to think. Now, let's say me and my ex were trying to do 50-50 custody, which my ex doesn't want. She wants majority custody. She got majority custody. Even though when that decision was made, I was stably employed. I was bringing in enough to provide for both me and my daughter on our own. She was unemployed, had been unemployed, has a criminal record, was fired from her last job for theft. And yet she was given the vast majority of custody. And what was the argument made? Oh, well, he's working, so he doesn't have time. That might be an issue right there. Because the thing is they don't take a woman not having time to properly raise a child as a negative. Not for the child. They take it as a negative for the woman. They sit there and they're all like, look at her, she's going out, she's working these jobs, and she still has to take care of the kids and da-da-da-da-da. Look at a man in the same situation. What do people usually think? Oh, well, he works too much. He's not spending enough time with his child. What a piece of shit. What a horrible father. That's the general sentiment that you get. You as an individual may not hold that sentiment, because I see those arguments coming. Shut the fuck up. But the general consensus is, if you are a single father, and you're not someone who was lucky enough to, have a job where you're self-employed, you name your own hours, and you're still making enough to bring in money, then you're a worthless pile of shit as a father. You are not doing the best thing for your child. You should give your child to the mother, regardless of what the mother is like. And I love the whole deadbeat dad argument. The whole, well, there's a lot of guys that just run from it. Well, yeah, because they don't want to get stuck in that endless cycle. And it is an endless cycle. It's one of those things where it just gets worse and worse and worse every time you go through it. And I'm not talking about having multiple kids. I'm talking about with one kid. Because here's how it happens. Guy and a woman, they get together. Oops, baby happens, right? Neither one, let's go best case scenario. Neither one of them wanted this to happen. So the woman didn't poke holes in the condom. The guy didn't pull the condom off. Nothing like that. It was just birth control failure. Now, the vast majority of the time, the custody is going to go to the woman. It takes quite a bit for a woman to not get custody, to get custody denied to them. Now, the father has partial custody of the child. Once you go beyond the pale of that 50-50, that's when the imbalance starts. It's kind of like when you have something rotating. If it's not perfectly balanced, eventually it's going to start wobbling until it goes straight up on its side. Sorry about the coughing. I think I'm getting sick. But yeah. We're now going to go ahead and take a look at how that little fun bit works. The man now has to pay a percentage of his paycheck to the woman for child support. So what happens? Well, he has to take more hours. That means he has less hours to spend with the child. So that means the woman now has more. So then the woman can go to the court and say, look, he's not spending as much time with the child. This number was based off of him spending X amount, having the child for X amount of hours, and he's not honoring that. And so then the judge changes it. Now, child support goes up. That percentage goes up again. So now the man has to take even more hours just to make ends meet. That means less time with the child. So then the woman goes back in again and says, hey, he's not honoring that agreement. Now he's spending less time with the child. Until pretty soon, not only is the guy working so often that he basically works, eats, sleeps. Maybe has 1 or 2 days off if he's lucky to spend with the child. And then when he has the child, he is not allowed to go out and be social or anything like that, let alone date. This is a real problem. Because now, not only is he not allowed to move forward with his life, whereas the woman is. She, yes, has the child, but during the time that that child is with the father, she's going to probably have her days off. Women tend to get it finagled to where the father has the child on her days off. Just like how my ex managed to finagle it. My ex has Saturdays and Sundays off. She has the weekends off. Guess when I have my daughter? And now, I have my daughter also on Mondays and Tuesdays. So, you would think, oh, well then that means child support would go down. No, actually, that's actually not how it happens. Because I went ahead and I went in and they gave her an advanced warning that that was what was happening. Whereas with me, it came out of nowhere, just boom. They gave her advanced warning, told me that I had to gather all of the information. Whereas with her, they just took her word on it. They said I had to have documentation that this is happening. And as soon as that happened, all of a sudden, my ex started refusing to let me have my daughter on Mondays and Tuesdays. So then, of course, the documentation couldn't be there. And they wouldn't take previous documentation. This has happened multiple times. So I learned from the first time, and I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to document this happening as it happens. And I brought in the documentation. I'm like, here's the documentation. Well, we have to give her warning. What? So you have to give her an opportunity to manipulate the system. Yet with me, you don't have to give me the same treatment. You don't have to look at me and go, hey, we're looking into this. See, that's where people are having an issue here, is because women, whether they can do it on purpose or not, are able to manipulate the system. Women are given special consideration. Men are not. And that's just with the child custody portion and child support portion of it. Let alone the divorce. But right now we're talking about parenthood. Now, for me, I took responsibility. I'm all like, you know what? Takes two to tango. I was involved in this. Whatever. But the problem is, when you go ahead and you end up in a situation like what we have, you have a situation where once a woman gets pregnant, it may take two to tango, but it only takes one to dance off the dance floor. She can go ahead and decide unilaterally not to have that child to avoid being a parent. If she doesn't believe in abortion, she can go ahead, have the child, not even tell the guy that got her pregnant, and then put the child up for adoption. Or drop them at a safe drop spot. Never tell the guy. What options do men have? Abstain or get fucked. That's basically it. It's, you either don't have sex, period, or you make sure you're, but that's not even necessarily a safe thing. Because in some states here in the US, a woman can know that the child isn't yours. Can know for a fact that the child is not yours. And still put you down as the father on the birth certificate. And even once the true father is found, you are still going to be held responsible unless the other man says, yes, that is my child, I will step up and take responsibility. It's not one or the other in that statement. It has to be both. So the other guy has to agree to be subjected to the system. He has to commit financial suicide for you to get out of it. That is the problem that a lot of people are having with the system. Because the thing is there's no similar situation for women. Women have the choice of being mothers. They have the choice of becoming a parent. Men do not have the choice when it comes to fatherhood. And then if a man decides, you know what? No, I want nothing to fucking do with this. I didn't fucking agree to this. I said I don't want to fucking have kids. People call him a deadbeat dad, whatever, whatnot. No, at that point, he's nothing more than a sperm donor for the woman. And yet he is still held responsible. You don't see that with women. How about this? If a woman goes ahead and decides to adopt a child out, for one, get rid of the safe drops. But if a woman decides to adopt the child out, how about this? she has to pay child support for the kid. To whatever family, a foster family or even the adopting family. She has to pay child support to them. How about that? That would make life pretty fucking interesting, wouldn't it? Because then all of a sudden, women would stop poking holes in condoms. Women would stop having all of that. And how about this? Give the men a chance to financially abort the child. Since a man can't decide whether or not a woman gets an abortion, which is fair. I mean, like she said, her body, her choice, right? I actually agree with that. But the thing is, men don't have a choice. You know who else didn't have a choice? The Jews in Egypt. Africans that were brought over on slave boats to Western countries. They didn't have a fucking choice. And we look at them and go, oh, look at those poor people. Oh my God, they were so oppressed. And yet, in today's society, we're still doing the same exact shit. Except now, it's just the qualifier for you to be a slave is you have to be an outie, not an innie. That's it. That's all. You just have to have a penis and testicles. And that's all. Congratulations, you were born as a potential slave. The only way you can avoid it is to deny a basic part of being an adult human. That's all it takes. You just have to deny all of your biological instincts. That's all. And then you can go ahead and be as free as you want. Until you reach a certain age at which people will sit there and start hassling you to stop ignoring your biological instincts and to do your part, to serve your purpose, to step into your role. That is the problem with society nowadays when it comes to parenthood. One half of the population gets to decide. The other half gets to eat shit.